Hello everyone, I am Rusha Mukherjee, a student of Surendranath Law College, and today I am here to talk about the basic sources of law. And one of the most basic sources of law and the most important basic source of law is the custom that we have been following for many years, and it has become an intrinsic part of our life. The custom is an habitual course of conduct that has been observed uniformly and voluntarily by the people concerned. It should not be something that is forced. When people find any act to be very good and beneficial, and they agree to do that at their own disposition and they practice for a course of time. But for anything to become a valid custom, what we see is that it should not have any break between it. It has to be continuous and also certain. There are various kinds of custom like legal custom and conventional custom. Legal custom is when, according to Salman, legal custom is one whose legal authority is absolute, completely absolute, not bounded by anything. One which in itself possesses the power and force of law. Such customs are operative per se as a binding rule of law, independent of any agreement on the part of the subject it works. It is the product of the will of the people and is based on national character, notion of justice and of the opinion of the people, and is accepted and recognized judicially by the law courts. Then if we come to the conventional customs, we see that Salman says a conventional custom is one whose authority is conditional on its acceptance and incorporates its agreement between the parties who are bound by it. Thus, conventional customs are those usages and practices which operate only indirectly through the medium of agreement, whereby they are accepted and adopted in individual instances as conventional law between the parties. For example, the usage of a particular trade or business. Normally, a conventional custom is referred to a usage or a legal custom as a custom simplifier. Now I will come to the essentials of a valid custom. What we should have such that the custom becomes valid. The first point is antiquity. That is, in order that a custom may have the force of law, it is very important that it is very ancient and immoral. Blackstone says that a custom, order that it may be legal and binding, must have to be used so long and the memory of the man cannot remember it. So that if anyone can actually think of a custom that is so remote that we can't even think from which date it started, that will be termed to as custom. Reasonableness is the second point. A custom should be reasonable. Anything unreasonable cannot be termed as a custom. For example, it must be reasonable in its application to the circumstances of the individual cases. It must be useful and convenient for the society. Like sati cannot be termed as a custom. Sati is harmful for the society and hence it cannot be a custom. Unreasonableness of the customs becomes void, and that is not having the force of law. We can cite a case of Raja Verma versus Ravi Verma. The question there arose whether the trusteeship or the transfer of trusteeship but the sale of trusteeship of a religious endowment for pecuniary advantage of the trustee was clearly unreasonable and bad in law. Hence, it was held to be invalid. The period for ascertaining whether a custom is reasonable or not is the period from its inception. Now the third point is exercise as of the right or compulsory observance. A custom to be valid must be observed as of right. It must be followed openly and nothing hidden should be there. It has to have an obligatory force and must have been supported by general public opinion. It should also not be opposed by any statutory law. A valid custom must not conflict with the statute law of the country. According to someone, it is said that no custom or prescription can take away the force of an act of the parliament. The custom cannot go above that. Next is the peaceful enjoyment. It has to be enjoyed peacefully and no violence. Certainty, it should be certain and no vagueness. Consistency between the prevailing customs. Continuity, as I told earlier, is very important. Only the custom is valid which has been continuously observed. It should also not be contrary to the natural justice or equity or public policy, and obviously not immoral. Now, if we say when does a custom become law? Customary law is established only by a professional trained judge but by popular practice. As to the obligatory force of custom and as to its place among the sources of law, eminent jurists have been divergent in their opinion. There are two theories, that is, historical theory and analytical theory, for the purpose of custom. That's all for today. Bye bye and thank you.